Hi everyone, welcome to Science Lab. The science are happening because Lord Jesus Christ is coming again very soon. Every day we are looking at some of the signs that are happening around us.
And in this episode, we are going to see about the strange things that is happening in the sky.
Since ancient times, we have asked what lies over the horizon beyond the oceans. Where does the world end? And we pushed further and further out the journey has revealed a solar system, a galaxy, a universe on larger and larger scales.
And now a new set of theories is telling us that time and space are incomprehensibly large. What will we learn on search for the age of the universe?
If you could step away from our world, what would you see? How do deserts fit in with oceans or mountains with floodplains? What structures connect the Earth to the other planets, the stars, and beyond?
The ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle believed Earth lay at the center of the series of 55 celestial spheres, with each moving in a way that predicted the positions of the planet or the stars within them. He saw these our outer realm as house of the gods. He said, "These are made of a pure substance not found on Earth."
The Greeks were also the first to see celestial events as natural phenomena subject to human investigation. One sky watcher named Anaxagoras suggested that meteors are made of materials found on Earth and might have actually come from the Earth. He and other Greek astronomers helped build the foundation of science, but they would be shocked to see the discoveries being made by their counterparts today. The stars and planets that once harbored the gods are now seen as infinitesimal parts of vast scaffolding of matter and energy that extend far out into space. Aristotle's model of a cosmos centered on the Earth lasted until the 16th century. Nicolaus Copernicus proposed the Earth and other planets instead revolve around the Sun. Based on his findings that planets have their own orbits, scientists constructed new models that describe their movements over time. Copernicus noted too that the firmament, the stars, lay far, far beyond the solar system. Our model of the universe began to get much larger in the year 1609, when the scientist Galileo Galilei used the first astronomical telescope. He observed that the Milky Way, a broad band of the light that rises up in summer skies, is actually composed of stars. Centuries later, astronomers discovered that the Milky Way is actually a vast revolving disk. They characterized the universe as an island of stars and gas, immense yet still limited in size. This model of an island universe would soon collapse under the weight of scientific evidence. Working with a huge new 100-inch telescope on California Mount Wilson, astronomer Edwin Hubble and an assistant named Milton Humason analyzed the light of fuzzy patches of sky known as the nebulae. They found that these patches were actually galaxies unto themselves, but located far beyond our own. They also found that many of these galaxies are moving away from us. The farther away they are, faster they are receding. In an age of atomic weapons and nuclear physics, a whole new model of the universe emerged, a dynamic realm shaped by giant exploding stars, shock waves, and black holes. In this view, the universe had its origin in a violent primordial event, a Big Bang. The Big Bang model rested on four main pillars: that the universe as a whole is expanding in all directions. If you turn the clock back, you'd see that all matter and energy had a common starting point in space and time. The existence of light elements like hydrogen, which would have formed in very early times and later converted to heavier elements. That there is light wafting through the universe that was emitted when the universe was young and stretched out over time into microwaves. Finally, it established a time frame for the evolution of stars, galaxies, and the large-scale structures of the universe. But But this new model of a Big Bang universe proved incomplete. Recent precision measurements gathered by the Hubble Space Telescope and other instruments have brought a consensus that the universe dates back 13.7 billion years. Taking cosmic expansion into account, galaxies at the edge of the visible universe are actually 46 billion light years away from us in each direction. What's beyond those galaxies? They have their own horizons that extend that much farther out. What's beyond them? Where does it all end? And how did the universe grow to such an immense size? Another observation puzzles astronomers no matter what part of the sky you examine. The spread of galaxies, the density of matter, and the temperature are the same on large scales. To achieve this degree of homogeneity over its entire breadth, the universe would have to expand it far faster and to great extent than allowed by the standard Big Bang model.
In the beginning, when God opened his mouth, he spoke out the word, everything was created like a big bang. Without understanding it, scientists are saying that everything came into existence all of a sudden and they call it a Big Bang theory. Actually, it is God who spoke it and it all happened.
So far, we saw some of the strange signs that are taking place in the sky. Don't go anywhere, let's meet after a short break. Welcome back to Science Lab. The signs are happening because Lord Jesus Christ is coming again very soon. Before the break, we saw some of the strange signs that are taking place in the sky. Now let's continue. Throughout the ages, the number of planets in our solar system has gone up and down. Now, this is not because planets have suddenly appeared or disappeared, but rather due to how were they discovered.
Since antiquity, there were 5 planets beyond Earth, which are the ones visible to the naked eye: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. The ancient Greeks added the Sun and the Moon to the list of the planets, but the idea never really caught on.
In the late 1700s, Uranus was discovered, which was revolutionary at the time as no one considered there could be more planets beyond the visible 5. After this discovery, more and more planet candidates were being found like Ceres, Vesta, Pallas, and Juno, which are all found in what we know as the asteroid belt or the large belt of asteroids between the orbit of Mars and Jupiter. In science textbook in the early 1800s, they were all listed as planets. In the middle of the 1800s, Neptune was also discovered, and within just a few decades, we had quite a list of planets on our hands. At the time, there was not a clear distinction between the 8 planets we know today and the large asteroids that were being discovered. By the 1860s, over 100 asteroids had been found, and they were finally given their own distinction classification as asteroids. Asteroids were described as objects that couldn't be distinguished from stars, but the fact that they move across the sky. So even 100 or so years ago, we were ruthless and demoted planets. A lot of people in the world feel like Pluto had been hard done by. But Pluto has been treated just as harshly as the large asteroids. In 1930, Pluto was discovered, and with the excitement of finding something so large and distant, it was classified as a planet. Although within a few decades, it was discovered that it did not follow the convention of traditional planet. The planets we know have circular orbits that align roughly with the plane of the solar system. Pluto, on the other hand, orbits at an angle to the solar system, and its orbit is so elliptical that at some points during its year, it's closer to the Sun than Neptune. But it was also unique, so no one minded it being called a planet. But then, in 1970s, Pluto was discovered to be a lot tinier than expected. It turned out that its mass is only 1/6 of our moon. Trouble continued for Pluto in the 90s when telescopic technology had greatly increased and other worlds were being discovered in and around the orbit of Pluto. Just like the discovery of asteroid belt, it quickly became apparent that there was another belt beyond the orbit of Neptune, now known as the Kuiper belt. these objects are still being discovered, the most famous ones being Eris, Sedna, Haumea, and Makemake. But seriously, they have found a lot. Just look at this list. In 2006, the International Astronomical Union knew that something had to be done. They finally classified a planet as a celestial body that A. is in orbit around the Sun, B. has sufficient mass for a self-gravity to overcome rigid body forces so that it assumes that hydrostatic equilibrium shape, and C. has cleared the neighborhood around its orbit. So although Pluto fits the bill for first two categories because it lies in the Kuiper belt, it has not cleared its orbit and thus it's not a planet. It is instead known as the dwarf planet, which is almost the same except it's not massive enough to clear its orbit. We should not see this as a slight against Pluto, but rather because of these new discoveries, we have a whole new category of celestial objects to learn about. Also, because of the classification change, there is a silver lining for the once planet Ceres. It got promoted from being an asteroid to become a dwarf planet. In these images, scientists found the seeds of all we see around us today. Smooth on a large scale but with variation on small scales. Astronomers set out to discover how the universe would have evolved from this cosmic template. In an age of computer-controlled telescopes and automated observing, astronomers launched international collaborations with goal of mapping a large fraction of the visible universe in 3 dimensions. The cosmic map that has emerged leads us out beyond our own remote corner of the Milky Way. We move through our cosmic neighborhood, a collection of 20 odd galaxies known as the local group. Beyond that, some 15 million light years away, we approach the densely packed Virgo supercluster, the nearest intergalactic city. Beyond Virgo, galaxies line up in vast walls and arcs. Here's how this pattern plays out on extremely large scales. The universe is a spider web of galaxies, filaments formed by immense empty voids. To explain the origin of this immense structure, scientists proposed a more expensive model of cosmic origins. It's based on the discovery that energy is constantly welling up from the vacuum of space in the form of particles of opposing charge, matter and antimatter. The new idea called inflation holds that the universe sprung from these diffuse energy fields. They somehow tipped into a higher energy state, causing space and time to literally inflate. Tiny fluctuations and primordial energy generated pressure waves or ripples. As the universe evolved, these ripples gave rise to variations in the density of matter, which gravity then began to amplify. To link these ripples to the pattern of galaxies we see around us, astronomers have been using supercomputers to simulate the evolution of the universe going back to its early days. Starting in a time when the universe was 10% its current age, the simulations show matter steadily falling into the denser and denser regions, where stars, galaxies, then galaxy clusters are formed. Simulations like this are designed to replicate just a portion of visible universe. The universe as a whole is now thought to be much larger. The fury of cosmic inflation would have caused the universe to go from atomic size to cosmological size within an infinitesimally short time. In the billions of years since its birth, the theory says the universe as a whole would have grown to some 10 billion trillion times the size of the observable universe. That's a 10 followed by 24 zeros. Put another one, the whole universe is to observable universe as the observable universe is to an atom. As incomprehensibly large as a universe is in the inflationary model, perhaps that's even the limit. 4 centuries ago, Galileo showed that our sun is just one of many stars. 8 decades ago, the astronomer Edwin Hubble showed that the Milky Way is one galaxy in an ocean filled with island universes. Newer observations have revealed that the immense size of our galaxy, then cluster of galaxies, and beyond them, vast walls and filaments of matter. By drawing on an underlying physical process to explain the birth of the universe, the idea of cosmic inflation has led scientists to think in far broader terms than ever before. There are versions of the theory, for example, that suggest we live in one of many universes that may even coexist side by side. Like bubbles, these universes are continually rising up and expanding across the ocean of infinity.
This idea amounts to a quantum leap in our sense of scale. By extending our ideas to the structure of time and space far, far beyond our visible horizon, does it push us on our tiny out-of-the-way planet into a smaller and smaller corner of creation? Or does our ability to assemble models that describe the larger universe somehow elevate our importance in the grand scheme of things?
Once upon a time, people thought that Earth is the center of the universe and everything, including the sun, moon, and stars, evolve around it. Later, they found the truth about the solar system and beyond. In these last days, every secret about the Earth, the universe is getting wide open. Do you know why the knowledge is exploding? Daniel chapter 12 verse 4 says, "Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase."
All this shows that what is mentioned in the Bible that are going to take place in the end times are taking place in our lifetime. We are living in the last days and the Lord Jesus Christ is coming again very soon. Thank you for watching this episode and don't forget to tune into the Science Lab next time.
Before we end the show, we would like to ask you a question from this episode. How many planets are there in our solar system? Option A, 8 planets, option B, 9 planets, and option C, 10 planets.
And if you know the correct answer, send it to our email ID sciencelab@angeltv.org. If you have missed any of the episodes, don't worry. You can watch it again and again in our Science Lab YouTube page. But don't forget to like, share, and comment on the video.
Ask your friends and relatives to watch Science Lab so that they will know that we are living in last days. Remember, signs are happening because Lord Jesus Christ is coming again very soon.
Maranatha.
Maranatha.